Good afternoon, everyone. A very happy new year to you. Welcome to another episode of the Moving to Australia podcast and our first one for 2025. With the new year comes new resolutions, fresh beginnings, and a chance to set goals or refocus on personal and professional aspirations. We all reflect on the past year and set our minds on what we would like to achieve for the year ahead. If you are keen to study in Australia, then grab your headphones, a cup of coffee or tea, and let's dig in. Some of you may have read or heard from others that Australia is the perfect destination for international students. It has great universities, a welcoming multicultural environment, and cutting-edge research opportunities. But that's not all. Studying here opens doors to global career opportunities, post-study work visas, and pathways to permanent residency. To explore why Australia is a top choice and what's in store for you after graduation, I have the revered Amitava Deb, an IIT graduate with a background in computer science, who will share his thoughts on how to explore the right course for you, which will eventually lead to employment opportunities and open up pathways for staying in Australia longer or permanently, whichever the case may be with you. Amitava, Happy New Year, first of all.
Happy New Year, Arun. Happy New Year, everyone.
It's good to see you again.
Yes, same here. I hope this year will be great for everyone. Welcome aboard and let's start.
So, what should a young graduate keep in mind when exploring a course they are keen to study in Australia, as there are vocational, undergraduate, and postgraduate courses in many areas of study?
Mm-hmm. Okay. There are two parts to it. One is, of course, the generic considerations. I will start with the first one, which is which one to choose, a vocational course, an undergraduate, postgraduate, or a PhD. It depends on what the student or the aspiring student has done in the past. What is the career aspirations? Usually one should remember that for not all vocational courses will result in a visa to be granted to you depending on the country you're from. For example, if you're from India, admission into a vocational course is most likely going to be refused because India already has a huge number of good vocational institutes, unless it is specialized, like, for example, a diploma in nursing or a diploma in culinary cooking. Otherwise, it has to be bachelor's or higher. And if you want to do a PhD, yes, Australia is a great place for PhD. I think you must have seen, if you Google, you'll find out Australia has, on the top 20 universities around the world, there are 3 from Australia.
That's great to know.
So key considerations for choosing a course in Australia. The first one, very important, is alignment with your career goals. The course should align with the student's long-term career aspirations, whether vocational, undergraduate, or postgraduate. It should not be that you have a hidden agenda. You are doing a course because you want a PR. No, that's the wrong approach. It should be aligned with your career goals. Second consideration is that the course has to be CRICOS registered. CRICOS, Commonwealth Register of Institutions and Courses for Overseas Students. Many enroll into English ELICOS before enrolling into a course because they are from a non-English speaking country. That's separate. So a CRICOS registered course must be there. You can Google, you can find out. One can do their own research, all these universities, and enroll or select a course that is CRICOS registered. The next consideration is duration and level of study. Whether a vocational hands-on training, undergraduate, which is bachelor's degree, or postgraduate master's degree program, which one suits the best pathway and what is the duration? Keep in mind that duration is important if you wish to gain experience in Australia after your studies. So if it is less than 2 years, you cannot apply for, loosely people term as TR, temporary residence visa. It's actually post-study work visa, and you can only apply for it if you are still below 35 when you finish the course. This is a new rule that has been established last year in 2024. So duration is important, at least 2 years, so you can apply for post-study work visa, which can be up to a period of 3 years depending on what you have studied.
What subclass is that, post-study work visa?
485. I think we did a podcast on that in the past. If not, I will have a look and we'll do it. Next consideration, post-study opportunities. Research the course, whether it qualifies for the study, post-study options, but at the same time, research whether you have enough work opportunities aligned to your studies. Because sometimes if you think of migrating to Australia, you need to choose a course that allows you to have a post-study work visa and at the same time gain enough experience for a positive skills assessment. You must note that VETSS, which is the largest vocational education and training assessment body, and it assesses a wide variety of occupations like marketing, management consultant, HR, statistician, etc. So they mandatorily need at least 1 year of work experience. And you must ensure that your work experience is going to be in that field. If you do not have enough job opportunities, then you may not be able to stay in Australia. Yes, you can have work experience, and if that is what you want, it's fine. You can have your work experience and return to your country to serve your country. Next one, accreditation. Accreditation is to ensure that the course is recognized by industry and relevant professional bodies. Right?
Okay, and why is that?
If it is not recognized or if it is not accredited, you may have challenges in the future with respect to your career. So it's quite important to ensure that it is accredited properly. For example, I'll try to give an example. Selection of a course in automation, which does not have any opportunities, then it is going to be difficult. Yep. Now, finally, the consideration is about cost and scholarship. Cost and scholarship means, what is, are you going to be able to afford? You must note that it's not cheap, it's quite expensive. Better the courses, the higher the fees. And you may want to check for scholarships. If you are academically bright, many universities offer scholarships. And if you approach a good education institution, then they will be able to guide you properly through that.
Okay. Mm-hmm. So one can apply for a teaching assistantship or a research assistantship, something like that?
Yeah, and there are many scholarships offered by the university.
What is the new genuine student requirement?
So earlier there was a requirement for genuine temporary entrant. So it was a little misleading. It kind of suggests that you are going to be genuinely temporary in Australia, but it doesn't say that you need to be genuinely temporary and studying. A lot of students in the past used this student visa to come here and work. So they would enroll for a course that is only once a week, and rest of the times they would be working. Noting that when the university is in session, you can work for 48 hours a week. If it is out of session, you can work full time. And a lot of people work officially 48 hours, but they also do a lot of unlawfully, they do a lot of work outside, cash in hand work. So that had to stop. Those students are not wanted here. And I agree with this requirement that if you're coming here to study, you need to establish that you are genuinely a student. So how do you determine? First of all, there has to be a write-up by the applicant to say why he is a genuine student. These are the criteria. A, consistency between previous studies and the intended course. So if you have studied IT and you say, I want to study nursing or aged care, that's a red flag. It's not genuine. You're not a genuine student, right?
Correct.
You probably have other intent, other motive. That is not allowed. Future plans is the next one. Whether the course is relevant to career goals in your home country or internationally. Yeah. That is quite important. You need to clearly articulate your future plans. Third one is your financial ability. You need to demonstrate that you have enough money, or your family has enough money to fund your studies here. In the past, there has been a lot of debate where there has been statistics saying, foreign students bring in a lot of foreign currency into the country. But then later, it was found out that they only bring in the initial money, and the rest of the studies are funded by their income generated while working here part-time. Right? So that had to be checked. It's not saying that you stop working, because sometimes you may need a bit of work to have that extra money, pocket money, or maybe some work related to your course, so that it helps you with some field experience. But solely focusing on work while studying, no, not done.
But they can only work while the course is in session, not when it's off session.
In session, they can work 48 hours. When it is not in session, they can work full time, which is okay. But that should not be the prime objective. So if someone is already financially stable, you think that, they have money to support themselves. So that is important. Next one is immigration history. So has that person or the applicant traveled around the world with their family, with their parents, been to Europe and US? Usually, travel to some countries do not really count. Suppose someone says, I have been to Sri Lanka and Bangladesh, and I have been to Burma. No, this is not an immigration history as such. It is to be shown as going to countries where a visa process is difficult and usually not as cheap as many other countries. So that is known as checking the immigration history.
But why is this important for their application? What does it tell a case officer?
That they have visited other countries and have abided by the visa conditions. They did not overstay. A lot of people do that. They just go there and overstay and apply for different dodgy visas.
Gives them some idea about their background.
Yes. It's a combination of all these things. So the students may need to demonstrate a clear intention to comply with the visa conditions.
Okay, agreed.
And return to their home country after completing their course, unless eligible for further pathways. And these further pathways can be employer-nominated temporary visa, can be training visa, can be even PR. So we have now covered a few of those. We can cover in other podcasts.
Now from 1st of Jan, students outside and inside Australia must provide a confirmation of enrolment for all intended courses of study to make a valid application.
Yes.
In the past, the letter of offer was accepted, but it is no longer. So how can a student provide the confirmation of enrollment?
It's a minor one. Usually the student always will have the confirmation of enrollment. It's EOE, it is called, before applying for the visa. Major universities provide that anyway. However, the visa rules in the past has been that the confirmation of enrollment could be provided before the grant. Now they have made it mandatory before the application. There are two requirements to be met. One is application time requirement. The other one is decision time requirement. So COE used to be decision time requirement. Now it is application time requirement. This is to weed away situations where there has been probably, I don't know, I have not come across, there probably has been instances where there has been letter of offers, but there was never going to be any COE. So the application would have been refused. And once the application is refused, if they are onshore, there was somebody came here on a on a visitor visa and applied for student visa. It's not allowed anymore, but suppose they had applied and then it was refused. They had the option to appeal. The appeal queue is big, so they are technically here for 2 years, the duration of the course itself, if it was a genuine course. So that puts a lot of burden on the system, on all the officers who are not able to focus on the genuine applications. So in order to stop all that, I think this has been done.
Okay, fair enough. What pathways do you see for students who graduate from Australia to work and, if desired, continue to live in Australia longer or permanently?
Mm-hmm. The first one is, as I discussed a little while ago, post-study work visa or TR or subclass 485. Student after graduating can stay here for up to 3 years. Okay. However, they have to be now below 35 when they graduate.
Okay.
Unless they have done a PhD. Okay. The next one, skilled migration pathway. Skilled migration pathway is a little tricky. It depends on the course you have studied, whether there is an occupation that can be chosen and you can get a positive skills assessment. Now, choosing an occupation is not enough, and positive skills assessment could be tricky, as I discussed earlier. If it is VET assess, you will need at least 1 year of experience in the last 3 years or last 5 years, depending on the occupation group. Many such factors. However, if it is engineering, you can get positive skills assessment without experience. If it is IT, you can get positive skills assessment if you have 1 year of experience after the studies, or if you do a professional year. Same with accounting. So there, depending on the occupation, one can opt for migration pathways based on their studies, occupation, and many other factors. So I can't really go through all the details in this podcast. We can talk about it later. Next is employer sponsorship. So employer sponsorship, there are few options. One is subclass 482, which recently has changed the name from temporary skills shortage visa to skills in demand visa, SID visa. And it has a list of several occupations which has changed in the past. Okay, so many occupations have gone out. So you have to look at it carefully if you have an employer. But employer sponsorship for SID visa also requires 1 year of experience in the last 5 years. If you have not had the experience here, you can have the experience in your country as well before you came to study. That is also accepted. And then there is 186, which is employer nominated PR, for which you need 3 years of experience. And finally, there's a visa called subclass 407 training visa. Training visa is for those who have recently graduated, they're young, and they want to enrich, have additional work experience through on-the-job training. So that is also an option available.
So how can a MARA agent like yourself help students after they complete their graduation?
Once they complete their graduation, they can come to us. We can help them with the visa guidance, assist with applying for the post-study work visa, for example, to start with, and then chalk out a plan for pathways to permanent residency if they are interested. We can also give skilled migration advice, which is identifying the relevant skilled visa as well as the relevant occupation based on their background. This is a very important step, and a lot of applicants I have found miss this particular step or choose the wrong occupation. I'll give an example. Somebody has come here and studied MBA. After MBA, there is no occupation based on MBA usually, unless you work as a management consultant for 1 year. But if the guy who has done MBA has studied 4 years of engineering back in their country, they are eligible for PR visa even before they graduate. So these are the things that we assist with. Third one, regional pathways. We can talk about, if they are interested on the regional visas and DAMA, and although a few of these are employer nominated, we can help in choosing a particular employer or get them in touch with potential employers in regional areas. Employment support is the next one. We can assist them in grooming themselves, groom their resume, make them employment ready, connect them with the appropriate headhunters. As it's not we cannot promise, but because we've been here for a while, we can assist them with our background and experience. Next one, very important one, is compliance assistance, because visa regulations, the word is regulation, it's legal. Compliance is very important. Choosing the wrong stream may lead to disaster. I have many who have come to me after their post-study work visa got rejected, and the reason it was rejected is because either they chose the wrong stream or they did not submit the application with the application time requirement documentation. For example, Australian police clearance certificate is a application time requirement. So if you lodge the application without evidence that you have applied for Australian PCC, it will be rejected. But this is not the case for the overseas police clearance. Overseas police clearance can be provided later. So things like that. These are all compliance. And don't ask me why. It's quite complicated. They make it complicated. So compliance is very important, because case officers can do nothing. If you have failed to meet a particular compliance item, then that's it. It'll be refused. Another important one before I go to the next one is lodging an expression of interest. I had a guy who lodged an expression of interest with skills assessment, and his student visa had expired. Okay. And he thought he was on a bridging visa. So things like that. It's important that you seek professional help. It doesn't have to be a migration agent, but we have the expertise. We have to keep ourselves updated. And the last one is strategic planning, developing a roadmap for achieving long-term goals in Australia, including further studies or permanent residency.
Okay, that's good to know. So if any of you would like to get in touch with Amitava or as a DMS, then our social media handles and Amitava's handles are available in the podcast description. You can visit our website, www.dmsmigration.com. You can fill up a form, or you can reach out to Amitava on WhatsApp, or if you're in Australia, just call him. Our office is located at Parramatta. Feel free to walk into our office anytime, on weekdays though, between 9 and 5. We'll be more than happy to assist you. So thank you for tuning in, folks, wherever you may be, and good luck with everything, and see you next week.
Good luck. Goodbye.